Injury report just came out for this weekend. George Kittle's questionable, but he practiced this week. Nick Bosa's questionable, but he practiced this week. Trent Williams is questionable, and he did not practice at all this week. No practice for Trent, not even limited. I saw him in the locker room the last 2 days. He wasn't wearing a boot, but he was definitely hobbling. So I'm not asking you to predict, but if he doesn't play, does that even the playing field here, or is this still a Geno Smith production?
It's still a Geno Smith production. Trent not being in, honestly, I think that would lean into some of the topics that we have coming up in the show, right? If Trent's not there, then you're going to have to put multiple different runners in the backfield, right? And it can't just be Debo. It's going to have to be Jordan Mason. It's going to have to be Isaac Guerrero. And in my opinion, Jalen Moore is not as good as Trent Williams, so that's not what I'm saying. It's definitely a downgrade, so let's start there. But being able to get the ball out quick, the receivers that we have right now, not necessarily airing the ball out as much as we have been, especially since we've let go of Brandon Ayuk. Ricky Pearsall being an added addition, having Jacob Cowing possibly being added into the mix if we kind of get rid of some guys that really aren't giving us a lot of production on the offense. I think that we should be able to still beat the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, it'll be a loss, definitely. But one thing I have noticed is that the right side of the offensive line is just as balanced as the left side of the offensive line. And it's been happening this season. And one thing that I've noticed is that Kyle has kind of gotten away from running to the right side of the line again. And you noticed it the last game with Christian McCaffrey. You wanted to give him the best runs that he could have. But really, the best style of running that we had was before Christian got back into the lineup. And that's when Kyle was forced to literally utilize all gaps of the field. So for me, maybe that will force Kyle into using more people that we want to see on the field, as in pass catchers, and putting out a better running back committee and actually having a more balanced run attack from right to left. So I see a silver lining to the cloud. That's how
no question. Here are some numbers, though, that may or may not mean anything. Brock Purdy in his career with Trent Williams is 22-6. Without Trent Williams, he's 0-2. Small sample size.
Right.
But you could argue that Trent Williams, as valuable as Christian McCaffrey is, we saw what happened to this offense when he went down. It was like a domino effect. It was huge. You could argue that Trent Williams is even more valuable because the drop-off from Christian to Jordan Mason is not as big as the drop-off from Trent Williams to Jalen Moore, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could argue that. But for me, I just feel like there's a way that the Niners can move on without having Trent there. I mean, really, he's kind of getting warmed up into the best football that we're probably going to see from him this year. And he's coming off of a bye. And I think he maybe needs a little bit more rest. I mean, Trent is getting older. And in my opinion, it's not, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. You know, time moves on. There was a time maybe about a season ago where not having Trent Williams on the field was that was a game stopper. Like, we can't play without Trent. But we're starting to see that Trent Williams is still class personified, but there's ways that we can still get it done. I'm not that concerned if Trent can't go. And to be honest with you, sorry, Grant, but to be honest with you, if he can't go, don't push it. I'd rather have Trent for the duration than, push him for a game and then we lose him for the season.
Smack Jones says 919. Smack Jones 919 says, congrats on 10,000, Coach Grant. You the man, you the GOAT.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So, it's one of these situations where you don't practice all week. It's an ankle injury. You could make it worse. If it were week 18 or a divisional playoff game, I'm thinking there'd be a better chance that he would play. But like you said, it's week 11.
Right.
It's the Seahawks. You could get away with not playing him here. And because, again, if you play him, it could get worse. He could miss next week. If you don't play him, maybe he's back next week for Green Bay when you absolutely need him.
Right. And for me, that's the key. You need to be able to actually see the forest through the trees here. Trent Williams is somebody who we actually need for the entire season. There's ways that you can get through this game without completely blowing him out and completely losing him. For me, I don't know, foreshadowing, I know it's different players, but we already lost Brandon Ayuk. Let's kind of pace ourselves. We just got CMC back. So if Trent's saying that he can't go and he can't practice, then we need to sit him down. Or you know what? Maybe this is us kind of like jumping the gun. Maybe they're sitting him down for practice because they want him to be a game time decision. So we really just don't know how severe this is.
Best guess, does he play?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. And I base that on nothing.